I got you, people. Now, these are for this new generation that's growing up here, right? These black young kids that think that they build America when they haven't built shit squat. I think I could say that word, right? It's not profanity. So they keep on saying that they build them, but I want to see some proof. Show me a pendant, a label, or a building that it says built by blacks or that blacks built it. Because you keep on saying you built America, but you haven't shown what you built. Show me what you built. You remember you probably, work or whatever now and things like that, but you didn't build nothing. What bridge did you build? What hospital did you build? What school did you build? What monument did you build? Anything. Show the people that you keep on saying that you built something. Show us what you built. What tools did you build? What machine did you build? What car did you build? What utensils did you build? What bed frame did you build? Show us something. What tie? What jeans did you build? Did you build your own Nikes? Did you build your own iPhone? Did you build your own screen TV? Did you build your own wig that you're wearing? Your those 3-inch eyelashes. Did you build that? Show people really what you built. You say you built America. Okay, show me what you built. Show the world what you built. Because you didn't build nothing. The only thing you built was gangster rap. From hip hop to gangster rap. That's all you built. You built gang trends. Wearing your pants below your knees. That's all you built. And the only ones that do that are these new generation of blacks. Nobody cares about that. You're the only one that cares because you think that's a trend. To use a trend to everybody else is disrespectful to the real ancestors that died for you so that you could be here. That's why we, but I'm not going to call myself Latino because I'm not Latino. I might speak Latino, but I'm not Latino. We always say who we are. We Puerto Ricans. We Boricuas, right? And just because I speak Spanish, that doesn't make me a Latino or Spanish. No, Spaniards are Spaniards, and that's what the language came from. We were all conquered. That's why half of the world speaks Latin and half of the other world speak English because the Europeans conquer half of the world and the Spaniards can't conquer another half of the world. And that's why y'all so-called new generation of blacks speak English. If it wasn't for your ancestors, your black ancestors, surviving slavery and continuing to live so that you could have a better life, instead you destroy all their legacy, all their living. You talk about what you built, but you don't talk about what your ancestors went through and had to do for you to get here. You don't talk about that. But us Latinos always put our culture and our people first. We put our history, our culture, our people that fought for us to be here. We recognize that our ancestors, if it wasn't for our ancestors, we wouldn't have been here today. We give credit to our ancestors that kept living and getting tortured so that we could have a chance to be better and be great. And that's what we do. We give our ancestors recognition, and we always talk about our ancestors. They're patriots to the country and our people. We don't try to degrade them down and things like that. So that's what the problem that I have now. And I'm thinking that this new generations of blacks are being like what they always be saying, white supremacy. And now they're becoming black supremacy. Blacks want to take over what the whites, they say that they done. They want to do it too. Now they and everybody's throat, right? They didn't like the Jamaicans because they didn't like the Jamaicans saying that they were done the hip hop. They didn't like the Caribbean people claiming that they was part of hip hop. They didn't like that the Puerto Ricans were part of hip hop, right? They want to claim everything to themselves that they did, but it's not one proof of evidence that they did something on their own. There wasn't here on their own. There was people here way before them and things like that. And sooner or later, right, they're busy worrying about the Latinos They should be worried about their African ancestors in Africa, that you got a whole European race in South Africa that is all white, and they don't even let the black Africans, the true people of Africa, can't even go to South Africa in that particular region, because there's all white Europeans there speaking the African language. You know what happened with the Indians when they did that? They learned their culture, the way they live, and then what they did, they moved the Indians to the reservations, right? And now they come down. Now that's why all these European Caucasians own America, and the laws are American and Europe made. And that's what's going to happen to Africa if these Africans don't wake up and start letting these Europeans learn their culture. You got Europeans now dancing like Africans, like the Zulus and things like that. And they're mimicking what the blacks, you know, how they dance. And they speak in their language. You know, you got white Europeans speaking in the African tongue. And that's, you learn the lessons of the native Indians. If you teach these foreign people your culture and your language, sooner or later, they're going to outrun you, they're going to outsmart you, and they're going to take your land. That's why Africa is bombarded with all these European countries trying to take over. And there's only so much they can do. They got, like, I don't know if it's 53 states or 56 states, and everybody got a president there. There's not one president for the whole African country. And they fighting each other. And that's why Africa can't get correct. You know, there's only a few leaders that are trying to get America independence on its own. And they can't do it because every other Africans is fighting each other. And then you got these white Europeans trying to claim that they're Africans. No, you settled there just like you settled here in Las Americas. And you took Hawaii, you took Alaska, you took Puerto Rico. Africa is going to be in that same dilemma, in that same situation. If your Africans don't wake up and be strong, you don't have to be like hatred against another group of race, right? But say no, you cannot overtake land that is not yours. You know, you cannot own outright an indigenous land, because, you know, Africans and all the Caribbean, they're all indigenous, they're all native to that land. You shouldn't be allowed, you know, to dominate land and pass land to another European or another foreign race. Shouldn't be allowed. You know, the land should stay with the native people, and that's it. You can buy the property, the real estate, but the land you can never have totally owned. You know, as long as you're paying your tax to the land, you're all right, but it's not absolute. You cannot just sell it to somebody and sell it to a corporation and things like that. No, the land stays with the people and always stays with the natives. That's it. And so that's all I gotta say. You know, blacks today are getting like the head is getting too over swollen. That thing about they look like they want to be the dominant force. You know, they talk about white supremacy. Now I think it's gonna be black supremacy. Like blacks want to rule the world. Imagine if blacks rule the world and they're acting towards Latinos like that. You know, who else they're gonna act out like that too? You know, so people wear those things. And you know, a lot of white people are coming out and they, you know, you knew what the word patronizing means. Look it up. What do you call it? FBA. It's easier to say than say the word Foundational Black America. Look what patronizing means. When somebody patronizes you, it's to smoothen up your head and to make you relax and feel good. You know, these white people are coming out. The blacks are the creators, a trend and things like that. You created a trend because that trend nobody wants. The only people that wear wigs and 3-inch eyelashes and their pants down and things like that are the color folks. And when I mean the color folks, I don't mean every color folks. I'm talking the blacks, the black Americans that they think now that they're superior to everybody else. You know, everybody has struggled. Everybody was slaves. If you look back, now I would say this, like Europeans were killing each other and killing the next door neighbor. They was killing themselves. When they found out there was more people here. They stopped enslaving their people, killing their people, and what they went out, they enslaved people that were different from them. And everybody that's not white is color. So you're not the only black people. I'm light skinned, and I'm still considered black to them. That's it. If you're not white, you black. Anybody that's is color that is not pure white is color black. That's it. It don't matter. You always saying black, black, black. Then you want to say you don't want to be called black as a color. So then, but they said that you brown. Come on now. And then you got these other black people that are light skinned. That and I like Louis Farrakhan because he's more into history and he knows how people how these Europeans started calling other groups of people like a white and a black is called mulatto, right? And that's because you lighter skin. You're not pure black now. Now you blend them with white and black and you came out lighter. So they call you a mulatto. And the next one is a Creole, right? When an Indian and white mix together is called a Creole, right? Or Puerto Rican and white is called a Creole. Now look at this. If you get a black and the Indian is called a mosquito, right? Because mosquitoes, lay eggs, and poop and all that. So that's what they consider an Indian and a black a mosquito. But a black and a white mulatto and a native and white is called a Creole or Taino, and a European is called a Creole. So you got to understand these things, and you got black people that don't want to be black. They're ashamed to be black, and they outright with that because they don't want to have a procession wherever they go. They're gonna flag them because of the attitudes of others that bring to the image, right? Nobody wants to be looked down at, but you got these young kids that they don't care about anything, and they think now that they're superior to others, and it's not gonna happen. Everybody's gonna have their chance. Before they was picking on the blacks, then they went back to the Chinese, right? Then they went back to the Mexicans. And then I guess it was the Puerto Ricans with the island. The Hawaiians got plenty of problems over there. Even the Hawaiians can live in their own country. They're living underneath, bridges, and tents and all that. You can't live in your own country. The native Alaskans, you don't even see a pure Alaskan people anymore. Canadians and Europe is over there, right? Mostly it's right. Look at the Shiites back in the days. In the average country, mostly everybody was black because it's hot. There's all sunny over there. You got to wear a robe and cover yourself. Most of these Shiites are now the light skin. Why? Because the British are integrated with their family. It took generations to line up their skins. And now mostly all the Shiites, the Arab world, are white. And so now they're discriminating against the darker color. But if you don't know history, you're never going to know, people. And with that, people, I'm going to let you go and you think about that. Don't ever think that you're superior than another race, a group of people of necessity, because you're going to fall in the same predicament that they are now. Be humble and respect everybody. With that, I'll let you go and you think about that.